If you've watched Shark Tank or you're a basketball fan, you've probably heard of Mark Cuban. I mean, the guy isn't exactly the shy type. But did you know that Mark is worth almost $5 billion US? Yeah, that's right. But the story of how he got there is probably even more interesting. Many commentators have put his success down to sheer luck. But is catching lucky breaks all there is to Mark's story? Stay with us to find out as we deep dive into Mark's story and how he made his money. Born in 1958 to immigrant parents from Russia and Romania, Mark spent his early years in Pennsylvania. He was just 12 when he ventured into entrepreneurship. It all started when Mark asked his father to buy him an expensive pair of shoes. His father, however, told him that the sneakers he had looked fine to him. So if he wanted a more expensive pair, he would have to get a job and pay for it. And Mark didn't think twice before pouncing on the opportunity when his dad's buddy announced that he had garbage bags that he needed to sell. Buying each pack for $3, Mark went door to door selling each pack for $6, and consequently doubling his investment each time he made a sale. It was perhaps this early venture that paved the way forward for Mark Cuban and prepared him to pounce on opportunities each time one presented itself. A few years after taking up the garbage bag gig, Cuban identified another potential opportunity. When workers from the local newspaper company went on a strike, he figured that people would still like to get news. So he ordered newspapers from another company operating out of his city and sold them in his until the strike concluded, again making a neat profit on his investment. Mark skipped his senior year in high school to instead enroll in the University of Pittsburgh. But as he had to finance his own tuition fee, he figured moving to a less expensive Indiana university would make more sense. Even during his time at Indiana University, he did not leave behind his entrepreneurial spirit. During college, he was approached in a bar by people who wanted him to offer dance classes for their sorority and pay him $25 an hour. Looking to make money, Mark instantly grabbed the opportunity. Then, a local bar near his college was going through some financial problems. So Mark decided to buy it. But he had no money to do this, so he put down his tuition loan to make the deal happen. This was probably the first big risk of Mark's career, as he admitted later that things could have gone very wrong. But they didn't. Mark ended up renovating and rebranding the place, and the bar's popularity soared immediately. After graduating in 1981, Mark moved back to his hometown in Pittsburgh. He started his career in banking, but soon moved to Dallas, Texas, where he secured a job as a computer software salesman. Having developed sales skills early in his life, he was fairly successful, but soon ran into a conflict when his employer, who according to Mark, wanted him to prioritize cleaning over closing important sales deals. Cuban parted ways to start his rival MicroSolutions, where he competed directly with his former employer. And he was successful. He had an impressive client roster and expanded the technological capacity and product suite. His efforts attracted a $6 million bid in 1990, which Mark decided to accept. Mark decided that he had made enough money to retire, and he did. One of the first things he did was to buy an American Airlines first-class unlimited pass for $600,000. For the next 5 years, he would use it to travel the world, trying to enjoy life. According to Mark, this had always been a bigger priority than getting rich. But despite having committed to retirement, Mark chose to take up the opportunity to invest in a broadcasting business in 1995. The company, called AudioNet, was founded by Christopher Jebb, who wanted to live stream sporting events over the internet. Being a sports fan himself, Cuban quickly committed, investing $10,000 initially for a 2% stake. Together with Todd Wagner, his college buddy, Cuban acquired a majority stake in the company, rebranding to Broadcast.com. In 1998, Wagner and Cuban, the two Indiana University alumnus, took the company public amidst an internet bubble, which made both of them billionaires. Soon after, they sold the company to Yahoo for a $5.7 billion valuation, cashing out. Mark would go on to sell his Yahoo stocks too soon after the deal, which turned out to be a pretty good decision as the dot-com bubble burst soon after he did so, and Yahoo closed the acquired service within 3 years of acquiring it. Perhaps one of the biggest reasons that many people, including Mark Cuban himself, have termed his journey as becoming a billionaire lucky is the timing of his investment decisions. Over the course of his life, Mark has made several business decisions that were timed to perfection, such as cashing out of the broadcasting company that he helped take public. What's even more astonishing is the fact that Cuban decided not to hold on to the Yahoo shares he had received as a result of the transaction. And although it might seem to be a good decision now, at the time, no one expected the internet bubble to fizzle out as soon as it did. Cuban says it's important not to be greedy, however. He says that although a lot of people expected the value of Yahoo shares to grow exponentially, he was already a billionaire and had no intention of taking risks for the sole purpose of growing his net worth when he simply didn't need to. Clearly, he's no fan of Gordon Gekko's greed is good ethos. Having made his mark in the tech industry, which ultimately made him a billionaire, Cuban pivoted to something he had always been passionate about: basketball. In fact, he thinks it was only his realism that stopped him from pursuing the sport as a player. Mark believes in pursuing opportunities. But at the turn of the century, having already more than $1 billion to his name, Mark decided to buy a struggling Dallas Mavericks team for $280 million. And although the team was perhaps at its lowest point when Mark decided to step in, it had more than its share of bad luck to at least partially blame for it. The previous management had worked hard to turn things around, but the dice refused to roll in their favor in a long, difficult decade before Mark's arrival. Good luck seems to have followed Mark around almost in his entrepreneurial pursuits. Even the Mavericks' misfortune and horrid circumstances too would help him in getting a bargain price tag for the team. Today, the team is valued at almost 10 times the price Mark paid for it in 2000. Of course, Mark has played a big role in turning the team's fortunes around, and he's almost adored both in and out of the club for it. With Cuban's arrival, the Mavs have reinvented their strategy and outlook. He has especially helped them revamp their marketing strategy, which has even turned a profit for the club in recent years after decades. The team's trading strategy also became much more aggressive and determined, which again has increased Mark's popularity among the fans. And although almost 60% of Mark's net worth stems from his investment in Dallas Mavericks, he said that the investment was never about money for him. He has always been passionate about sports, especially basketball, and he genuinely wanted to lead the team to sporting success. He achieved that spectacularly, enabling the Mavs to their first and only championship in their entire history spanning over 4 decades. And unlike his other business pursuits, where his successful exit strategies played an important role in growing his net worth and making him a billionaire, Mark doesn't seem to have an exit strategy for Mavs. In fact, he said he might continue to lead them for the next 2 decades. Since first appearing as a guest shark in 2011 and consequently becoming a regular shark, as ratings snowballed, Mark Cuban quickly became a fan favorite. He also has significant leverage and has compelled the showrunners to drop the 2% Shark Tank royalty that previously all entrepreneurs appearing on the show had to pay. But it shouldn't come as a surprise that Mark is highly popular, as he is the only regular billionaire on the show, and all other regular sharks' net worth is a fraction of Mark's whopping $4.7 billion. He has also had the highest follow-through rate for deals made on air, as almost 90% of the deals that he committed to ended up going through. That's almost twice the proportion of deals that other sharks have gone through with. His overall investment also supersedes all other sharks, with almost $40 million invested. Entrepreneurs appearing on the show too have a high preference for partnering with Mark, due to his entrepreneurial background and investment reliability. However, he hasn't exactly stayed out of controversies on the highly rated show, and his comments have sometimes been not as encouraging as entrepreneurs would hope. In fact, after hearing a pitch for a meditation app, Mark questioned the willingness of an entrepreneur to get a deal on the platform, accusing her of using the Shark Tank platform as a marketing strategy. While some other sharks agreed with him, others not so much. Mark did not stop there, however, and went as far as to calling her a gold digger. Although the sharks failed to reach an investment deal, the entrepreneur was reduced to tears, finding Mark's remarks to be personally offensive. Although the episode was a little over the top, even for Mark Cuban, it wasn't exactly out of character for him. In fact, these quirky and sometimes unexpected outbursts have at least been a part of his popularity as a permanent fixture of the show. Did you catch this episode of Shark Tank? Do you think Mark's comments were innocent, or offensive. Whether it was sheer luck with Broadcast.com's overhyped valuation amid a dot-com bubble, or a well-planned exit strategy that made Mark Cuban a billionaire, it would be, perhaps, fair to say that he has put in his share of effort and energy into propelling his net worth. In fact, Cuban feels that while luck might have played a role in making him a billionaire, it was his work and talent that made him a millionaire. He feels that if he had to start from scratch all over again, he would definitely become a millionaire again. Getting to $1 billion might be another story altogether, as Cuban admits the dot-com bubble helped him at least partially in becoming one. What do you think? Do you think Cuban's assessment of luck playing a role in his journey is accurate? Or do you think luck has a greater impact than he might be willing to admit? Or perhaps you believe he deserved the luck after all the work he had put in? Let us know in the comments. And before we say goodbye, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to stay connected.